We are live once again. Welcome to another episode of Evil Live. I'm your host, the Evil Tyrone, and I've got a special guest with me today. Been meaning to chop it up with this person for a while now. I've got Teez Horror in the city in the building. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Before we started the live, and we were chopping it up a little bit. You were checking out one of my favorites, 10 Cloverfield Lane,
Yeah.
which was amazing, amazing to
Yeah.
me. My favorite out the series so far.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I definitely agree with that one.
Oh
I like a
yes.
little franchise here and there. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
it's,
Some of them are consistent throughout, but some of them dip in and out. But I've got my favorites. So how do you feel about the Cloverfield franchise?
I like the Cloverfield franchise. The first Cloverfield, I'm not really big on the video camera type of movies. Like sometimes
Gotcha.
there it's just a lot, but I liked it. I was really young when I first seen it, so I really liked that movie. But I
Oh,
like
okay.
this one the best because uh I don't know, it's just really suspenseful, and
Yes.
it took a few days in the movie, so I like this one the best. So I
Yes.
got one of your faves as my faves.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely surprised me because seeing the first one, I was like, all right, this is all right. The first Cloverfield. Like I know a lot of people love it, but I was like, all right, this is okay. But stepping in the 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was just like, what are they going to do with this? Because they weren't advertising it as like an alien type movie. And
Yeah,
as the movie goes along, they start to play with your emotions and certain things. And I'm like, well, is it the aliens or is this motherfucker crazy over here?
right. You got to
So
worry about two things going on. She's trying to
yes,
run away from him, and there's people trying to get in. Like it was a lot. I was like, okay, I could get with this. Wasn't like
yes.
the first one.
Yeah, then when the reveal came up, when she finally got out of that bunker and she saw what was happening, I felt how she was feeling, because I'm
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh, y'all really got me, y'all got
yeah,
bravo, 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 you know.
definitely.
But
I,
shout out to Jaleesa. She says, hey, Jaleesa in the building, you know.
Hello.
But we're gonna introduce you and get to know you a little bit through the lens of horror, through the lens of our favorite genre. So how did you get into the genre?
Well, I started off young. I remember seeing I want to say it was Scream first. I seen Scream, the first Scream. My aunt had introduced me to it, and I was like, "Oh, this was so good! I like horror movies. I like scary movies." And I always say that, and my mom and them were like, "You think you like scary movies, but let me introduce you to something scarier." So they introduced me to Candyman, and I was just like traumatized for a long time. And I was like, "I don't think I like scary movies anymore." But I had seen the original Dawn of the Dead, and
Ooh,
when I seen the original, I was like, "This is really good." I was like, I like the idea of like running from zombies in a mall, and then when they did the remake, it was just like, okay, I think I like the zombie subgenre. So I've
yes,
been like, I'm big on the zombie subgenre a lot. Like I really like it a lot more than a lot of other genres. I like slashers, but I don't know what it is about the zombies. It gets me every time.
ooh. So and that leads into what my next question was going to be. Like what would be your favorite subgenre? But it being zombies. Like, do you have some standout zombie films that just stand out for you?
One of my favorites is Kingdom. That's on Netflix. It's a series. The
Yes.
Korean film. There's another one I like. I like Dawn of the Dead. That's another one of
Okay.
my faves. I like
Yes.
The Walking Dead. I actually had stopped watching towards the final seasons. So lately I've been doing a little binge watching with that. Um, what else is another one of my faves? I have so many. Day of the Dead, such a good movie. Um, there's one I recently watched, The Serpent. It's based off of Haitian
Wow.
Haitian zombies. How and I actually did I wrote something about that. There's a I did like a whole day like the dead the zombie films and how they're tied to like Haitian voodoo and things like that, and how the genre is totally different than the origination in the Haitian practices. Basically, they practice like bringing the dead back to life, kind of for like protection and kind of to like use them for slave work.
Yeah.
But in America, in the way we have portrayed it, it's just like the dead rising and trying to take over the world in a apocalypse or something like that. So I talked about that a lot in my blog.
Wow,
So
wow. Yeah, and shout out to your blog. If you want to check out, T, she has a blog, Horror in the City. It's gonna I got the link in the description. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow her on her social medias, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere that she is, because she's got some good information, giving us some history tonight,
oh,
because like you said, in America, growing up watching a lot of these zombie television shows, it's like, oh, the zombies are rising from the dead, or they, someone knocks over a canister, the canister leaks into
yeah,
into something, some smoke rises in the air, and then it rains, and oh, the zombies, people crawling out of the grave.
yeah. Or like one of my other faves, Resident Evil, where
Yes,
where that they create something in a lab and then boom, we have zombies. And
yes.
now we have zombies, now we have killer aliens. We just got a lot going on. So yeah, I like the Resident Evil series. The
Oh,
recent series, I don't know about that one, but yeah.
yeah, I've heard a lot of unsavory opinions. Like, I have not checked it out. I've always been like, you know what, I'm gonna check it out for myself. Like, I'm gonna give it a shot, but I think, like, lately I've been seeing like so many good depictions of zombies. Like, I was watching, I think the last one I watched was Alive, #Alive on Netflix.
Oh yeah, that was a good
Which
one
was
too.
crazy. But let's go to the chat. Melody says, "Go girl."
That's
You got.
my aunt.
Oh yeah,
Hey.
yeah. Hey auntie, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We got Mika says, "Original Dawn of the Dead is a great movie. Zombies is my
Yes.
favorite subgenre."
Yes, Mika.
Yes, yes. And then we got Candace Williams. Yes, you put me on the history of zombies in Haiti. And then
Hey, that's my best friend.
Kingdom is a great TV. Oh, shout out, best friend. Kingdom is a great
Mika,
TV show.
you got some good faves on your hands, Mika.
Yeah, yeah. Mika is into it. If you do not follow her on social media, it's Double Horror Pack. She's also got a podcast with her twin, double feature podcast. Make sure y'all check
Okay.
that out. They talk about, horror movies and pretty much every movie, known to man, but just they do it with a passion, and
Yes.
all while drinking tea, so
Okay.
they got it going
Shout
on.
out to the T.
Oh yes, oh yes. So you say Resident Evil. You had brought up Resident Evil. Did you have any favorites, any favorite Resident Evil
It's always gonna be the
movies?
first one.
The first one.
The first
Gotcha.
one. The first one's just too original for me, and that's how I am with a lot of like horror franchise series. Like Scream. That's one of my favorite franchises. I wasn't really a big fan of Scream 4, and I'm also like one of the type of people who are like Scream 3 is one of the best. And a lot of people are opposed to that, but I mean, Scream 3, I don't know, it just told a storyline. So that's how I feel about the Resident Evil number one. It's just like it really dives deep into like this is how it started, this is what's going on inside of
Yeah.
this lab. She wakes up and it's just and then it was it was fun. It was a little comedy in there too, every now and then. So I really enjoyed that. I did enjoy the one with my and Ashanti because it was just so random that they were both in that movie. I think that was Resident Evil 3.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
3?
the third, yeah, the
Yeah.
third one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, it was they've been all around the world in that franchise, you know. I'm uh I'm hoping, you know, like I have my hopes up, you know, with that one because I feel like one day we're going to get like that definitive, you know, representation on the screen as far as, you know, like a Resident Evil flick. Like did you ever play the video games?
No, I haven't. I haven't played the video. When I was younger, I played the video games like way,
Yeah.
way younger, but not recently.
Yeah, they've stepped it up with the graphics, the sound, just you got your headphones on, like it's a heart pounding experience. It is a
Almost like
heart pounding
VR.
experience. Pretty much like I don't know if I can handle like a Resident Evil in VR honestly because it's just the sound. It's like, you know, because sometimes they got the spooky things popping out and all that. I'm like, okay, after a while, you can kind of like desensitize yourself to something like that. But it's the sound, just like, you know, I'm like, I don't know if I could, you know, they like my heart. I don't know if my heart could take it. I don't know.
Right, it's already doing a lot with the headphones. Yeah,
Yeah,
VR is just a whole different other experience. I did a zombie VR before, and it creeped me out. I had to close my eyes a few times. Like, wait a minute, what am I doing? So
yes,
yeah, I
yes.
understand. And I wanted to go back to the movie that I was talking about. It's The Serpent in the Rainbow.
The
It's
Serpent in
based
the
off
Rainbow.
it's based off a book by of a researcher who went to Haiti to research zombies and voodoo with bringing back the dead. And so the scientist, he wrote a book basically, and then they end up turning it into a film. And he said he's
Wow.
had experiences with zombies, and he was trying to get the potion that they use to bring the dead back, so he could bring it back to the United States, and of course profit off of it. So yeah, that is a true story. There's some true events in that movie, so if you haven't seen it, check it out for sure.
Yeah, that's I'm adding that to my list. The Serpent in the Rainbow. Definitely got to check that one out. Mika says the Resident Evil games used to scare me. Yeah, they were
They were
heart
very
pounding,
scary.
heart pounding. You know, even with the graphics that, you know, as they were back in the day, you know, they still got you in a certain place. Still got you in a certain place. Now, did you have a favorite decade of horror? You know,
Favorite decade. Ooh, I don't have a favorite decade of horror. Right now, the decade is pretty good. Horror's doing a good
yes,
job right now, and it's always doing a good job. But like right now, it's just been consistent, and I feel like
yes,
most of the movies I've seen this year are horror. Um, it's it's been great this year. It's been a great year, and I can't wait to see what else is to come. And hopefully, some of my fellow community gets out there and puts some movies out too. I'm looking
yes.
forward to that. I'm
Yes,
definitely
I love seeing, you know, the independent, you know, movie filmmakers, you know, get their thoughts out there and get their art out there, and just to see,
yes,
you know, just to see where they could take it. You know, that's why I love watching Shutter, you know, and you
oh
know other
yeah,
platforms where people are just getting to put their stuff out. You know,
mm,
it's a wonderful thing. Like we're living, I feel like we're living in a great time right now, a great era
definitely.
for horror. You know, like do you have some of your favorite, what are some of like your favorite horror movies that have come out recently that like stick in your mind?
Who I want to say nope stuck with me for sure.
Yes, yes.
Um, what else? There was a movie that I watched on Shutter recently. It was about a couple who moved into this house, and another couple comes in and comes to their dinner party. I think it's like Who Invited Them.
I
Um,
have that on my list. I haven't seen it yet though.
that was pretty good,
Ooh,
and I
okay.
just went to see the menu on Thursday. Mind
Oh,
blowing. It was the
I
best
have to see.
experience.
Yeah, I told my fiance, I'm like, we gotta make it. We gotta find some way to see that thing because I've heard so many great things about the menu so far. So many
It
great things.
It was great. I was like, I did not expect that, and it's gonna be everything you don't expect when you go into it. It's a lot of whoa. Wait, what just happened? Oh, wait, go. And there's a few times that I was like, let me rewind. Oh, I'm not at home, so I couldn't rewind it. And like, wait, what just happened? Like, am I tripping? But yeah, that was a good movie. Um, I feel like all the movies. Oh, Scream, the new Scream was amazing. I'm a little sad about Sydney not returning, but I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure the sixth um, installment is going to be pretty good. I'm
Oh
looking
yeah, oh
forward to
yeah.
that.
I'm excited to see, what they can do with the formula, and see how they switch it up and tweak it. It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
very,
very
very much
interesting.
so.
Mika, she says, great choices. Tease with Serpent of the Rainbow, very underrated film in my opinion. You know,
Very
um,
underrated.
do you have a favorite horror film from 2022?
Don't
You
make
know.
me pick a favorite. Don't make me pick a favorite. But it is gonna be Nope. I'm definitely gonna say Nope.
Ooh, okay,
It had
okay.
me on the edge of my seat. It
Oh,
definitely did.
and it wasn't what I was expecting either.
Not
All
at
the
all.
the scene that really got me, that really sticks into my brain, is when um the being is hovering over the house, and
Yes.
it's just like you see the blood on the. It was just like, oh,
And you
this
seen,
is.
yeah, the blood, and then it was when you seen the house the next day. It was just like that was wait, what is that thing doing? Like, what's going on? Like, wait a minute. It really was. It was a lot of what I didn't expect either. I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
Nope led a lot of it led you to want to know what was going to happen in the movie. You did not know all the way up until you sat there and watched that movie, and you're still trying to piece together everything that has happened in this movie. And it's like I've had all this suspense from when I
yes.
first heard about this movie to when I'm sitting here watching this movie, and I'm still like, hold on, I have to see this a few more times because I'm like, what did I just watch?
Oh yeah, it was, and I wasn't expecting, even like the scene with the monkey. Like I was not expecting to be going into that movie analyzing that and everything. I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
Jordan Peele,
Always.
doing some, he's hitting them out the park, hitting it out the
Yes,
park.
definitely. Um, which takes me to Candyman. If it came out this year, would be my
Yes,
fave as well. Candyman
yes,
was shot perfectly. And it just basically it really retold a good story, but it also opened up for more stories to come to continue
yes,
the Candyman story. Like we didn't. I'm not gonna say we didn't need Tony Todd in this uh in this movie, but it was good to see him show up in that movie, like in just one part. But it was good to see the movie take another turn, which kind of compares
yes,
with like Sydney not returning. It's like we gotta embrace the characters while they're there. They're not always gonna be around. So
yes. But it's like who would go to a movie and be like, you know what? Did we really need Tony Todd in here? Because if I was sitting next to someone who was questioning why Tony Todd was there, I'd be like, get out of here, get
right,
out of here.
yeah, which is true. Yeah,
We
that's
we
true.
always need Tony Todd. You know.
But he didn't have to be the Candyman in this one. It was like he could have. I could, I he did such a good job in the first three movies. It was
Yes.
like, sometimes you have to let a new story come to fruition. So I
Oh yeah.
definitely believe in that. But I was very, very excited. I almost was screaming in the movie theaters when I seen it's at the end because I was like, "Is he gonna be there? I heard he's gonna be in here." And it's like, okay, there he is.
Oh yeah, Nia DaCosta. I just feel like what she brought to the universe, the Candyman universe. Was just it was dope. I feel like it was needed, especially told from someone of color's viewpoint. And a black woman. Just it was nice to see. It was nice to see.
Yeah, and it definitely told it like a story, like, you know, just being of color, and dealing with gentrification, and you get to
Yes.
experience that. I think I had tweeted something yesterday about how that was one of my favorite Easter eggs of that movie, because he was inside of the Cabrini Green as it is now, when the
Yes.
original was shot in the Cabrini Green when it was of now, when it was that time. So it was just really good to see that movie from that perspective, like, hey, this is what gentrification does to you. And then you kind of see it throughout the movie, like, just like with the way that just like how the capitalism with the art, and how it was a lot of control and things like that. It was just, it was good to have the Candyman storyline, but to also see like these stories being told within this. I that's what I like about movies now. I think that this is why this is my favorite era, because we can really tell our stories now. There's so many stories that we can tell at this moment through horror, through
Oh
our own
yes.
lens.
Oh
That's,
yes.
I mean, I love it. Every time a new movie's coming out, I'm like, I wonder what we're gonna talk about now. Let's get the wheels turning with everybody. That's
Yeah.
what we need.
Exactly, and not just like one dimensional like storytelling or one dimensional characters, like we're getting, like I know a lot of people don't like the term like elevated horror and stuff like that, but I just feel like now we are getting to, put a little bit more effort into the storyline, where it's like
Exactly.
multiple stories being told, and uh just more, it's just, I don't know, it just means more. It just means having more meaningful stories on the screen,
Definitely.
not just having someone running around with an axe, which is cool,
Right.
sometimes, watching somebody just run around with an axe, but
Yeah.
I want a little backstory. I want you to make me think, because that's what's going to have me leave that theater and think about your movie like over and over and over, and tell people, have conversations, like me and you were having, like walking out of Nope or walking out of Candyman, and the themes and the multiple themes that are in, all these movies, and just having discussions and just being like, damn, this is something that we couldn't necessarily have had, back in the day,
Right. Exactly. And I feel like Monkey Paw does a good job with not letting everything be one dimensional. We can focus on many things while watching these movies, while watching these television shows, and I think that's what we need. That's really what we need. Let's have these conversations. That also sparks something in the next person. I definitely did not expect to have a horror platform, 2, 4, 5 years ago. I never expected to do that. I always wanted to talk with people about horror, but I never expected to be in the community that I am in now, and I appreciate it a lot, because, like we discussed before, like, you don't really get to have conversations with everybody in your friend group.
hmm
Everybody's not into this one thing, and that's with anything that you like or you love. So it was cool to actually to find more like-minded individuals like myself coming into this, because at first I was talking about having a podcast, and then I was like, I don't want to do a podcast, and there's so much you can do. It's And like I said, these movies and things, they're getting our wheels turning. They're getting us
yes.
to get into tap into our creative selves, and I love that. um, I think that's why I've always just been gravitated to watching a lot of movies, being open to a lot of new things, because there's just so much out there that can get your creative juices flowing, and
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, it's nothing like, tapping into that energy, because someone that asked me the other day, they're like, what's my favorite thing about, like, doing horror interviews and just talking with people. I'm like, the high that I get, like, especially
Yeah,
afterwards, like, I just be happy. Like, it's no other way to cut the cake. I just be happy after talking to someone about horror, and getting into the nitty gritty of things, and just sharing experiences. Because even though we could watch the same movie, we're gonna take different things away from it, and
exactly.
you're gonna show me the film from a different lens that I would not have necessarily, thought about. because I'm going into it with my own experiences, my own, mindset, my own expectations, and someone else, who has the same or similar passion is going to bring, that other standpoint, which is so tasty. It's so tasty.
Right. And that I did a podcast with Kai FX. Um I
Yes.
did an episode with her on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and we basically broke down how it's like a horror film. And never in my 30 years of living have I ever thought to myself like Willy Wonka is really a horror movie when you really think about it. So it
Yes.
definitely is like it makes you think about things that you have a different perspective. You have a different perspective, and sometimes you learn new things like Willy Wonka. He did he kill those kids? What happened to those kids? You get to thinking like that, and it's just like when me and her were having the conversation, or I was just like, wait a minute, this is different. This is now I'm looking at this movie different. I'm watching it from a different lens. So that is
Yes.
so true. Definitely
Yes.
agree with that.
And I 1000% agree about the Willy Wonka thing. I've had certain conversations with people about how it could be, how it is, a horror film, and how it has a lot of those same elements, and
Yeah.
shout out to Kai FX. I'm actually interviewing her pretty soon. I think next
Hey,
week. Yeah, so
she
it should be fun.
she's actually my gateway into the community. To be honest with you,
Wow.
we have a mutual friend, and I just so happened to tweet one day and say, "Hey, I want to start a horror podcast, but I don't know where to start." And they were like, "My friend has a horror podcast. You should check them out." And then we just started networking on Instagram, and from
Yes.
networking with her and listening to her podcast, I got introduced to Girl That's Scary, and then from there, I just started seeing other podcasts and getting, just communicating. Marco, we talked a lot on Instagram, and then it just was like, I'm gonna go ahead and create my own blog. I want to talk about how horror makes me feel, and that's how I got started actually
Yes.
doing what I'm doing now. So I really enjoy it a lot. I'm glad I have something where I can put out, you know, what I like, what I care for, what really drives me every day. So
Oh
uh,
yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was just about to ask you. Like what's the most fun thing about like having your own horror blog, your own, outlet to express yourself and have your think pieces and stuff like that. Like what's the most fun aspect of that?
the best part is it's a non-judgment zone. I just feel like you could take away from a lot of other opinions, but I just feel like like in the horror community alone, it's really a no judgment zone. How
Yeah.
you feel about a movie is how you feel, and everyone allows you to do so. You might run across a few that'll be like, "Oh, you're not really a horror fan," or you. I see those every now and then, and I'm just like, I don't even pay attention to like when I see tweets and stuff like that. But it's really just like how you feel. I can wake up one morning and be like, oh, I want to watch Scream 3 today. I feel like reciting every word in this movie. And then boom, I then posted a clip of Scream 3 on my Instagram. And then it's like, in my eyes, this is my favorite my favorite movie from the Scream genre, I mean, from franchise. And it goes from there. Like I said, it's a no judgment zone. I'm always going to be like, why is that your favorite movie? Scream 1 is better. You don't get that. And so
Yeah.
I really like that a lot. I can just freely do me and be open with who I am and what I love about horror without the judgment. So that is my favorite thing about it.
Yes, yes, that's amazing, and I love that we are a part of a community. The horror community, uh, especially meeting a lot of people of color in the horror community who are just like
Yes.
I could say, oh, I wasn't really feeling this movie, or I really was loving this movie, and no one's gonna make me feel bad about it. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
that was cool. They're either gonna tell me that they loved it too, or they're just gonna be like, oh, okay. I wasn't I
Yeah.
was it wasn't really my taste, but I see they may bring up a few elements that they did, like, without trashing, or raining on the parade, so to speak.
Exactly.
you know
Definitely. I agree. I agree.
yes,
And I'm
yes,
always introduced to new movies and things. That's another thing. There's movies that I've never watched. I've scrolled past. And then I always hear like Suspiria. I watched that for the first time last year when I was getting ready to start working on my color theory, which I will be dropping my newsletter soon for that. I didn't
yes.
really get to finish it on Twitter, but I'm gonna drop a blog post at least before the year is up. But Suspiria, I had never seen that movie, and I was so intrigued by it because of all the color and the use of color in that movie alone. It was just like, wow. And I was introduced to that because I heard it on a podcast. I was like, let me give this a try. Let me look into this. Let me see what this movie is all about.
Wow. Yeah, see, my dad, he had got me into Suspiria, like, way back in the day, and I just remember seeing it for the first time, and I was just like, wow, like,
Right.
this is something different. This is something super different. And like you mentioned, color theory and stuff like that. Like, my fiance, like, I was watching one of my favorite, what's one of both of our favorite movies, 500 Days of Summer, and she
Okay.
was talking about, like, just the way that they used different colors in there to tell the story and stuff like that. Or even watching a movie like Last Night in Soho, where they
Oh
use,
yes.
different colors and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see, what you got to say
Yeah.
about color theory.
Yeah, I have a few posts on Twitter. You might come across them. I did a few posts like I did most of the color wheel. I try to start from the top and come around. I just never got to the white and black colors of the
Yeah,
color wheel, so I'm just gonna put it all into the blog post and go from there. But it's still a lot of movies like there there's been a few movies that I watched that I really just was like, whoa, the use of color in this movie. Like Carrie. Carrie is one of those
yes,
movies like from the blood was so brightly red from the blood that they poured on her at the prom, and just like the lighting in her home and the way it illuminated her mother versus her. Like you just seen so much of it inside of that movie, and it was that's one of my favorite childhood movies as well, Carrie. I remember my mom introducing me to
wow,
that.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
now that I think about it, like, it's Carrie does, they do go hard with the use of certain colors in there,
yeah,
and just how that's a story device in itself, just
yeah,
the importance, you know.
definitely, definitely.
It's yeah, it's something more people need to talk about. Like, I love that you brought that up. I love that you brought that up. Now I'm thinking about the shit. I've gotta I've gotta.
Well, my next blog post that I'm gonna probably start highlighting into the new year is going to be architecture in films, in horror films.
Ooh,
So that's gonna be the next thing. I did the horrorcore and focusing on like hip hop and music that relates to horror, but I really want to start diving into the architecture and stuff where my other passions all tie in with my passion for horror. So that's really just where I'm headed with it. Just
hell
keep having
yeah.
fun, talk about the things talked about often.
Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking. Just taking, what you love, and the passion, and stuff like that, and just, seeing where you can take it, seeing where you can take it.
Definitely.
You know, we got Mika. She said, yes, horror has been dominating this year, and you're right. Being able to tell so many people's stories utilizing horror has always been, talking about those pivotal issues.
Yes.
And Jaleesa says, yes, it was a horror film. They killed that kid that blew up like a blueberry.
They definitely killed that kid. I'm like, where did the kids go afterwards? Like, where
Yes,
the Uncle
yes.
Uncles was kidnapping them. The uncle's like, yeah, we're gonna kill him later.
Uh-huh. Also, just some that movie was wild. That movie was wild. I have to do a rewatch of that movie because I haven't seen it in a little while. Have not seen it in a little while. Mika says the community has been so great with building connections. Some great content creators out there. I will definitely be following Teez. Yes,
Yes, Mika.
yes,
Thank you,
yes,
thank you. I love getting new followers because I'm always getting introduced to new things every time. You know,
yes,
the
yes.
remake. I was gonna tell you, remakes are always. I don't know what it is. There's like a handful of remakes that just did amazing. Suspiria is one, and um, what is this movie? It gets stuck on my head. It's one of the best remakes, to be honest. Evil Dead. How
Yes,
can
I'm
I get
glad you said
that
that.
out
I'm
my
glad you
mouth?
said that. Yes, cuz I had actually saw it when it came out, and the director, he was in Philly, and he had like a showing, and he was showing it like at one of the theaters, and I watched the premiere, and I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm excited, and I was just mind blown. Mind
Yes,
blown.
it was that was a good remake. It was really like I watched the first one. My dad used to have it on tape. Always just like watch it on the VHS. My dad is actually like a big horror fan, and he's not anymore. So it's kind of weird because he introduced me to a lot of horror movies like when I was a kid, and it's just like Evil Dead stuck with me for a long time. I'm just like, this movie was just so good. It was just well played, and then it's like the remake was just even more amazing.
Oh yeah, it was dope. It was dope. It
I was
was
like,
funny.
yeah, it was funny, and then it was just like, wow, that's a remake. That's how you do a remake. Sometimes you come out of a remake like, oh, they could have kept that, but that was
Mhm.
one of those that was like, yes, you did good.
Yeah, the character Mia, I was just like, oh, y'all did, because not only did she have to go through drug addiction, kicking that, but she had to, go through being possessed and all this, and I was
Yeah,
just like, oh, y'all, this girl had a hell of a night,
it's been rough on her. It's always that it was one thing that stuck with me was what they were chanting when they were like reading the book and they were chanting that saying. I was just like, I wish that I can get that out my head because I feel like I'm gonna end up saying this and something's just gonna happen to me. I'm like, I'm not trying to get possessed. So it was like the chant from the book. I was like, for a while, I was like, I can't deal, I can't do this, and it was stuck in my head for a couple of days. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
stop saying it over and over in my head. I was like, wow,
it's
that
it's
movie scared me.
it's one of them. It's one of them. Like I'm definitely looking forward to Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead Rising, or Evil. I think it's Evil Dead Rise coming out early next year. I don't think they
Okay.
dropped a trailer yet, but they did announce, like, it was supposed to originally come directly to HBO Max, but
Hmm.
the reception was so good that they decided to give it a theatrical release. So
Well, I started
I'll
watching the
be
show last year, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed the show.
oh, I love
Um,
I love
mm,
this show. Something I could
yeah,
just throw on.
yeah. I think I'm gonna try to do a little binge there, here and there. I try to. It's so much to watch these days. I be having to set a schedule, make time for certain stuff. Then I have my random moments like, let's watch this. So yeah, I just recently seen Smile like 30 minutes before the live.
Hmm.
How did you feel about Smile?
You know what? I was on the side where I really, like, I saw it. I went out to the theaters to see it. I really wasn't. I guess it didn't match my expectations, but I'm gonna give it another shot though because it is on Paramount, so I'm gonna give it
Yeah,
another watch. Just in another mindset. I'm like, maybe because sometimes you watch a movie and you're just like, oh, this was all right, and then you go back and you watch it and you're like, oh shit, this was the best thing smoking. Like
right.
what mindset was I in when I was watching this? So
Exactly.
yeah.
That's how I felt like towards the end. I was like, okay, started off good, but towards the end, I'm like, okay, where do we go with this? But I was like, I got to give it another watch to see if my perspective changes about it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, because
definitely agree with you on that.
especially like loving film, because like all the work that goes into producing something, and just writing something, and just the miracle, like it's a miracle that a film even gets made, in general. So it's like, what,
Definitely,
let me at least give this another shot, for something that I'm really interested in, because the concept,
exactly.
was just as was on another level,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
gotta give it another shot. Uh, Jaleesa, she says color psychology. Yes,
Yes,
we were definitely talking about that. Mika says that sounds great. Architecture and horror. Yes, and the Evil Dead is a great remake. Yes, the Evil Dead.
yes,
I love the Evil Dead remake. I love the Jessica Biel Texas Chainsaw. I love
yes.
that
Those,
one,
that
and
was
I
a
think
good one.
the Dawn of the Dead was a pretty good remake as well. Like those would be
Yeah.
like the horror remakes that really stick out to me.
Dawn of the Dead remake was just like, I'm like, when I'm watching it, I had for a long time I was trying to remember what the original Dawn of the Dead was. I was like, I didn't know the name of it. I just watched it on TV one day. So when I
Yeah,
seen the remake, I'm like, I've seen this concept before. Like this, I seen a movie like this. So when I looked it up, I was like, Dawn of the okay, this is a remake. Okay, got it. So I'm like, this concept looks way too familiar.
oh
Like
yeah.
the whole storyline was just like, huh? And My
Uh-huh.
Chemical Romance actually talks about Dawn of the Dead in one of their songs. I forget what the name of the song is, but they like basically like explain being in a mall, being in the dead, but it's also connecting it to love. So I always think that's pretty cool. I'm like Dawn of the Dead's a good movie, one of my faves. So that song just really was catchy to me.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. Like I love a good horror movie where you can have the music in there, and the music, whatever sound they're playing, just sticks with you.
Yes.
Like they had Johnny Cash, I think, playing in the beginning of Dawn of the Dead, and then
Yep.
they had, I forget who it is, but some guy singing like "Get up, come on, get down with the sickness," and just it just
Yeah. Wasn't that on the
played.
radio? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. That part, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was on that
Uh-huh.
radio.
It's
That's how I
fucked
felt
up.
about Us with Five on it. That song's never gonna
Oh,
be
oh.
it's like this is a classic from my youth, and then they added this
Yes.
to this movie. Now I'm like, I got five on
Yes.
it doesn't even have the same meaning anymore.
Facts. Facts. Especially like me being from Northern California. Like I grew up in Sacramento, California, and
Oh,
yeah,
my
yeah.
best friend, she's from Sac, so I've been to Sac.
Oh,
I like
okay.
Sac.
Oh
I'm from
yeah. Oh,
Seattle, so I'm
okay.
familiar with the
Not
West Coast.
yeah. Not that far. Not that far.
Yeah,
But yeah, Sac. Just growing up on the West Coast and in Northern California specifically, and just hearing that song, it just being a part of my childhood, and then
yeah.
seeing what Jordan Peele did with it, I was just like, like
That's
nigga, what the
that's a dope score right there. Like wow. Now
yeah,
that's real. That's
yeah,
definitely real. Cause I was really like thrown off by. I was like, wait, I got five on it. Got a remix. That's
uh-huh.
what's up.
It's a scream mix,
Yeah,
because it was he did his thing. He did his thing,
yeah.
you know. Um, Iman Del Sol says the Disturbed, you know.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
and
I
then what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say it. I feel like I've seen that. The Disturbed. Have I seen that?
The
There's
Disturbed.
there's some there's some there's some movies I've seen and I'm like I don't know the name of them. I just know I watched them and they were good. But I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
I've seen that.
Oh yeah, me too. That's why I had to get my letterbox game up. I got to start, logging stuff in, because it was so many times I'm like, damn, did I see this movie, or did I? Oh, but how did I feel about this movie?
Right.
It's,
I definitely been trying to build my letterbox game up. After I watch a movie, I'm like, okay, let me clock this real quick.
Uh huh. Uh
I don't
huh.
even use IMDb anymore. I just go straight to letterbox.
Oh,
Like,
that's how it is. That's how as soon as I'm done in the movie theater, after we saw Wakanda Forever, as soon as the
yeah.
credits start rolling, I'm like, all right, let me log it in. Let me log it in.
I still need to see that. I'll probably go see that
Uh,
this weekend.
oh yeah, it's definitely you probably saved yourself some heartache from the first weekend crowd, because
Oh
definitely was everybody don't know how to act when it comes to the movies. As moviegoers and movie
yeah.
lovers, we got a certain criteria and couth when we walk
Yeah.
into the theater. We know not to have the phone,
Yeah.
searchlight on, and bringing kids in the movie theater and all that, and
I tell my partner that all the time. I said, there's a movie etiquette. I need people to follow it. So whenever a new movie is, especially like say if it's like a very popular movie that everybody wants to see, my partner's
yes,
always like, "Are you sure you want to go on the opening day?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm like with the talking and stuff. I'm like that person, like, shh, stop talking. So yeah, it's
yes.
movie etiquette for real.
Yes, we got your cousin in here. Love this for you, cousin. Here we
Hey, thank you,
go.
Darian.
Here we
Love
go.
you.
Shout out to Darian. We got Iman. Disturbed is the band that there.
I
There
should
we
have
go.
known that
There
you
we.
was that you was talking about a van
There we
with the
go.
sickness. I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't think I've heard of Disturbed before.
Yeah, I've got it, but I love the song in the movie. The movie was it was haunting. It still haunts me to this day. Even Mika says I have to add Disturbed to my list, always and endless watch list. Yeah, it's a song, Down with the Sickness.
Is
Yes.
that what's on the radio playing in that
Yeah,
movie?
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Look, I'm learning something new. I'm telling you. You
yeah,
always learn
yeah.
something new. And Iman, I mean, Iman, she knows a lot of good music. So I should have known.
Oh yeah, coming through with the soundtrack knowledge. Coming through. Shout
Right.
out to Iman. All
Good
right.
scoring.
Now, is there a horror film that you wish that you could have been on the set for?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's gonna have to be between Candyman, the new Candyman.
Mm-hmm.
It would be Scream 3.
Ooh,
And
Scream
and
3.
and I know Kevin Williamson was not a part of Scream 3, and I know that, but it was just we got a little bit of everything. I have to break down why I like Scream 3 so much. It's because it told a story about Sidney Prescott. You kind of understood why her mom got killed. You kind of got an understanding of um who she actually was. You
Yes.
never really get that from the first, the second, and the fourth. You just know her dad's never around. Her mom got killed. She's always being chased. But the third one kind of like breaks down. It like tells the story. It was more intimate, when it comes to all the characters in that one versus the other one. So that's why I like that one so much because it's just like we got more details about her mother, and it was just like her mom's the main target in all these movies. Okay, what is it about her mom? Like, oh, she was an actress for a famous horror director so it's just all the characters back, like Cotton, um, who in that what's his name, sister, like, and that's why I like the most recent one too. So those would be the sets. I think I'd have a lot of fun with both of those sets, especially
Yes.
Candyman. Candyman just was too good, too good.
Now, were there any scenes from either Candyman or Scream 3 where you're like particularly think of yourself on the set for?
With Candyman, it would have I could particularly see myself on um the scene where he's in the apartment and he starts seeing himself, like, and then
Oh,
he's like, and I'm just like, wait a minute, like this is wild, like he's like changed a sudden, and now I'm so I really like I could see myself in that scene because I really enjoyed that scene a lot. It was just the scene, the way he was changing, and then it just led up to him. He's the Candyman. I did not think he was the Candyman at first. That's what really threw me off with that scene. And with Scream 3, it'll always be that moment when Sydney has been away for a long time, and
Yeah.
then they're like telling Dewey, call her, we need her, we need her, he's back, and then she just shows up at the police station. That always gets me. I'm like, oh, he's stepping out to give her a call, and boom, she's there. Like it
Hmm.
all played out and happened like on time. That's one of my favorite scenes of that movie.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely that movie definitely it has its fans, it definitely has its fan base. I particularly like the explosion scene where they're reading the script.
Man, that scene was wild. um I did not expect that guy's body to just go like that. Like on first watch, it was just like, wait a minute, we seen it all. And then
Uh-huh.
and that scene also, that's a good scene to choose too, because when they got to the bottom of the hill, you start thinking that everybody's the killer at this point. You start looking at everybody like, why are you all the way over there, and why are you over here? And like, now we got to figure out who the killer. And that's a good thing about Scream. There's always a new killer. Every movie, there's always a new killer. So I think that's what makes that franchise really fun and easy to play with.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because you never know. It's like a who done it. Even though we're working with a lot of the same characters, it's like a who done it, every damn movie.
Right.
So who knows? We might see Ghostface riding the New York train system.
Start
Like I would love to see a scene like that. That'd be wild.
give you some Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees type, because they were going to space and stuff and all
Uh-huh.
that. I was like, wait a minute, we
Hmm.
we're going all around the world now.
Yeah, Mika says stand by that Scream 3
Yes,
love. I love it too.
yes. Scream
Yes.
3,
Yes.
best of the franchise.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely like the thing that I love about the Scream franchise is I can have a conversation with like 10 different people and everybody has their favorite Scream. Like some people are like, oh, don't get better than one. Some people go up for two. Some people are like four, nothing better than four. Some people are like three.
Hmm.
Like everybody will defend their favorite Scream, to the death. Like
Yes.
it's an awesome thing. It's
But
an
Scream
awesome.
2 is also a classic. I don't know. That one was really a classic as well. Like I could
Yeah.
just literally watch both of those back to back. Like, okay. And I
Uh-huh.
like with Scream, it came out at a time. Um, I was a lot younger when Scream was coming out, and then it was like you got Scary Movie to follow up with that. So it was
Yes.
like Scary Movie was like redoing all these horror movies, and it was just like you get this comedy out of it. So it just kind of built the love even more, because you're like, I got to get a good laugh over here, but I'm also got this intensity with this movie. So yeah, Scream is really a fun franchise to play with, and it's a 90. I think I'm a 90s era fan too. I think I like the 90s a lot.
Yeah, the '90s had had a lot of hot fire. The '90s was nothing
Right.
to play with when it came to the horror genre. They brought
Yeah.
us a lot of iconic moments. And it was shot very very well. I think.
Yeah, because you're getting better with technology over time, so you're able to play around with a lot of things with that. Um, yeah, 90s is a pretty good era too. So
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah. Oh yeah.
have to throw on something 90s tonight.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Maybe some what's '90s that I would throw on. I probably like the first maybe like some Jeepers Creepers, because the girl she had recently passed away.
Oh yeah,
I was like rest
Jeepers.
in peace.
Now that movie was a little scary when it came
Yeah.
out. That
Uh-huh.
first one, I was like, when they was at that house with the cat lady, that
Oh yeah.
scene, that was like a lot. He was like playing with my nerves. I was like, okay, let's just leave this lady's house at this point. Like,
I'm like, why y'all even go here? Y'all in the
right.
middle of nowhere. Why you even go here? You know,
This is the wrong stop.
and this dude is flying through the air. You know, why y'all
Right.
even go here? You know, why y'all
Yeah,
even go
he that was a lot. That was a good movie. I'm Jeepers Creepers. It had a good run too. I haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah, I know there's been a lot of like controversy with the franchise and everything, especially with the director,
Yeah.
with when it came out, what he was into and everything.
Hmm.
I'm like, cause I did struggle with, like I'm like, damn, I don't support this, but this movie was classic. But I'm like, he wasn't the only motherfucker, behind who made,
Yeah.
Jeepers Creepers what it was. So I'm like, you know what, I can still love the movie, but condemn the actions of the director and
Exactly.
what he was doing. But I have not seen the recent. I didn't see like the last two. I stopped after
I
two. I
seen a
was like,
picture from the recent, and I was like, if that's what they're doing, it was like a baby Jeepers Creepers. I was like, no. I was like, no, there's no way I'm gonna watch this.
yeah,
But
this
who
ain't
knows?
Chuck.
It might come across my day when I'm like, oh, I want to watch something that's not too serious
Yeah.
and not take it serious. So
uh
definitely.
we got Mika. She says, do you have a favorite director?
Oh, do I have a yeah? Jordan Peele. Jordan
Ooh.
Peele. I have to say Jordan Peele has grown on me, definitely. Um I used to watch like Key and Peele every now and then. But they just produce some of the greatest Monkey Paw produces some of the greatest content. Like even with um even with the show that they have that's coming out with the season 2 that's about the Holocaust.
Mm,
That's a good show. I definitely recommend everybody to watch that show.
I gotta check that
Um,
one out. I haven't
it's
been put on
actually
to that one.
I'm sorry, Monkey Paw, because I want to give you the name of it. Uh,
Yeah,
what
Monkey
was it?
Paw, they've been on a roll. Like he been, as far as the theatrical releases. Then he had that movie that's on Peacock with what's that Regina,
Oh yeah, Honk for Jesus.
yeah, Hunk for Jesus,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was hilarious. But it's actually called The Hunters or Hunters. That's what.
Hunters.
Yeah. So
All right,
it
I'm gonna
has.
add
I
that
don't
to the
know.
list.
I don't know if you ever seen The Shy. The girl from the first season of The Shy, she's in it. Al Pacino's in it.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, they got a good cast, and it was really good the first season, but it's been a long time since it's released, so I might have to go back and watch.
Oh yes.
But
Oh yes. Yeah, Miki, I did hear about the new podcast that they launched. I haven't checked it out yet though, but I did hear that it was really good. Really good.
yeah, yeah, I need to check it out. I heard it was scary. I heard it was really good. It's only on Spotify, right?
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully they release it on some more platforms. We need it on all platforms, people. Now, my next question would be, you talked about, Candyman and you talked about Jordan Peele. Like, so what are some of your like favorite black horror? It could be past or it could be, present. You know.
Black horror, yeah. Well, horror. Let's see. Tales from the Hood.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Definitely a good one. Abby. Abby's pretty good. Abby is like she's that movie. There's a scene from that movie that I always tell people. I'm like, before you watch it, you're gonna see this one scene, and it was when she was making fun of her husband when she was up there singing in the choir. And I've posted the video before on my page, and it always cracks me up because I remember being a kid in church, and it was just like growing up as a black kid in church who laughed during a sermon or anything that you're gonna get in trouble regardless, especially if you're in there with your grandma. So her being, possessed and standing up there, and she's like laughing while he's like doing the sermon, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and they're not shunning her, like, and then she starts coughing. She starts doing a cough for a long time. just like the whole time he's like preaching, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's disturbing the sermon. Like, what is going on? So yeah, I love Abby. Abby was like, she was there for mass destruction.
Oh
You know.
yes. Oh yes. Yeah, Abby is definitely one of the ones that I was sort of mad that I hadn't like checked out until, recently. I was watching Horror Noir and they had a little clip of it in there, and then my fiance, she had brought it up to me, and I was like, all right, I gotta go check this movie out. And one day
Yeah.
I had found the DVD on I think eBay, and it was a horrible translation, but I threw it up on the projector and I just fell in love with it. Like, I've been in love with that
Yeah.
movie ever since. Abby was definitely one of those ones, that needs its fandom. It needs, to be
Yes.
talked about and celebrated.
Definitely does. I think it's very underrated. But if anyone has never seen Abby, it's on YouTube.
Yes.
Go look it
Yes.
up and watch it on YouTube because it's definitely a classic. I like black exploitation films, so I like Blackula, JD's
Yes.
Revenge. Those are some good movies. Blackula, it was crazy because I hadn't seen it in a long time, so I recently was watching it, and then I realized Richard Lawson is in this movie. Like, I was always wondering why he was in the horror noir documentary,
Yeah.
and I was like, what movie was he in? And I'm just like, and so as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is a young Richard Lawson. I did not realize this. Like, wait a minute. Like, oh wow, now I know why he was in that documentary because I was confused for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
that's a classic.
it's definite. It definitely Blackula has stood the test of time. It's
Yes.
one of the ones that and I also think it needs more fandom and official
Hmm.
merchandising and stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
we need as many people celebrating it as possible.
But I,
Mika says JD's Revenge is a good one. Recently watched it. Yes, yes,
yeah, that was a pretty good. And I think that's why I like black exploitation a lot of like their films because they're really they bring you to that time when you're watching movies from that
yes,
time. It brings you to that time. It makes you feel like yes, I'm watching an older film, and it's black. It's black as hell, and
yes,
and that's all you're gonna get. And that's why I appreciate like the Tubi movies. Like a lot
yes,
of them they can be a little raunchy and stuff like that, but that's black exploitation right there. It's just from a different time. They,
yes,
that's our black exploitation, and so we have to learn to appreciate it more. And yeah, it might be a little low budget here, a little low budget there, but it represents who we are. It represents, you know, our creativity, what we see, because sometimes what we see is not what the next person sees. So that's that's why those two movies stick with me when it comes to black films. But horror noir really like tackles everything when it comes to black films and black
yes,
horror films at that. Um, I think watching that kind of made me appreciate more of a lot of black people being in the horror community because it's like it's a small dosage of us, but it's also a big dosage of us. Like at first, I thought it was just a few people, but it's really bigger than this. And then watching that movie just lets me know like it's way bigger than this. It's way bigger than just a
but
small
that's
portion. And
that's
that
why we need to see more of us out there, talking
yes.
about this, because even somebody like me, like just growing up and being like, okay, well, I'm a black kid and I love horror. There's not a lot of me out there, but really there are. It's just we're spread out, and everybody's like, oh, there's not a lot of us or whatever, but there are. I'm like, I thought there was only a few. I was like, all right, I'm gonna meet a few people on YouTube or social media that like this, but it's so many, and I'm just meeting more and more people, and it's like,
Yeah.
just the more visible you are, is the more people feel like they have a community, and just they feel like they're not necessarily, alone, in this, especially seeing something like horror noir,
Yes.
growing up in growing, because I see Candace, she put in the chat, Sacktown 916, Sacktown,
Mm,
growing up,
mm.
I used to live down the street from the drive-in in Sacramento, and going to sleep, I would because I was so close, I could pick up the movies on the radio. So I would, just listen to the radios, listen to the radio, going to sleep, listen to movies and stuff like that. And I'm like, I wish that, you know, we had a space where, we could just go to the drive-in and see, these black films, like Sugar Hill, or Abby or something
Ooh,
like that.
Sugar Hill. That's another good classic right there. And
Yes,
that's a zombie film. So that one is like, it's like the women are very powerful in those movies too. In
yes,
Abby and Sugar Hill, they're powerful. Like, you know, Abby was against, misogyny. She was against the woman is powerful, and then so was Sugar. Like, it was like, I'm powerful. Like, my husband was killed. I'm going for blood now. Like, I'm gonna get my revenge. And that that movie alone shows the voodoo, the Haitian voodoo being used to bring the dead back to try to get revenge. That that representation. Like, I try to do some research about, like, are there Haitian movies or Jamaican movies that cover, like, that have horror movies? Like, do they
yes,
have horror movies? And it's hard to find anything that's horror related with them, because with them it's not horror. This is real life. We do voodoo. We do all of these things. So it's like, this is more of a reality than it is, creating a a zombie movie of a zombie rising. We literally practice this in our
yes,
everyday. So it was like, I need to stop looking for these movies and start doing my research on this culture and the things that they have adopted and the things that we have adopted in America into our movies that are focused
yes.
on the things that they do. So that was another reason why I dived into that topic. But Sugar is definitely a classic.
Oh yeah, but that's
Mm.
another one that my fiance, she had put me on to. Jaleesa, she said we need more black zombie films. Sugar Hill was the one, not the two. You know,
Yes, the one, not the two. I know that's right.
it definitely was
we
up
do,
there.
we
You
do,
know,
and a lot more vampire films too. Because Interview
yes,
with a Vampire was great. Like,
yes,
it was
yes.
great.
Yes, we definitely we need more representation. Mika says,
Mm.
and Tyrone, you're doing a great job connecting all these creators with these comments. Thank you, Mika.
Yes, you
Thank you.
are.
Thank
I
you.
really have to salute you to everything that you're doing, because not everybody can do that. And
Well, I just love connecting with the my fellow people who have a passion for horror, and especially uh content creators who are black, and especially like uh black women, I like to, I can interview anybody or have a conversation with anybody, but when I know when I did first step into like the community, like I was shocked about like how many black women there were, like that were into horror. And I was just like, man, I just asked myself, I'm like, why are you shocked? Like, I'm like, because I, out of sight out of mind, so I'm like, all right, I gotta make space for them when I do, do what I'm doing or whatever, even the black queer community, just
yes,
making space for people, because it's like you don't necessarily see the representation, on mainstream television like it should be. Like we're starting to see a
exactly.
little bit, it's starting to turn a little bit, but it's not as much as like you, because you get to a point where you start to think like, these people may not even exist, because
Yes.
they're not, you don't see them on the screen like that, you know.
Exactly. That is so true. And I do appreciate too, because you also put a voice to a lot of people. There's a lot of podcasts and there's a lot of people who do lives and stuff like that. But people like me who are not doing lives and not doing podcasts, you kind of put a voice to to my content. You kind of put, allow me to be able to, show people who have never, probably never seen a picture of me. All they seen is horror
Yeah.
in the city. They're like, I don't even, wow, this is horror in the city. Because I've had that a couple of times. I've watched a live or something, and I'm like, oh, I see their face now. And I
Mhm.
hear their voice. I hear, so that also is really really important too. Puts a voice to a face, or a face to a
Yeah.
page as well. So I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Thank you, because we gotta get our voices out there. Like we can't like I had to learn that with myself. I was like, because dealing with social anxiety and stuff like that, sometimes you just want to chill in the corner, but it's like,
Yeah,
you gotta the more you put yourself out there, like somebody may feel seen. Like when I
yeah,
see you doing your thing, or even you hopping on camera, and talking about
yeah,
horror, and and your passion for zombie films, and just the history, and your blogging and stuff like that, and just the way you talk about it, just with the passion that you talk about it, I feel seen seeing someone look who looks like me.
yes,
Like
definitely.
it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
And we talked about the social anxiety, and when I tell you, I've been ever since the day you messaged me and we talked about doing the live. I was like, I'm scared. I'm shy. I don't know if I could do this. I've never been on live for a long period of time. I don't know what to expect, but having that natural conversation beforehand and then getting on here, it all feels natural. Because, like
Oh
you said,
yes.
I'm just talking to someone who's just like me, and
Yes.
we're sharing the same love for the same genre. So
Exactly. Exactly. Which goes into my next question. How does it feel, being in 2022 and having so many different like content creators out there, especially of color, in the horror community, because like you like I just turn around and it's just so many people that do it on so many different levels. Some people, they're like, oh, let me go blog about this. Some people are like, oh, let me go do my vlog. Some people are like, oh, let me go throw this event over here, and some
hmm
people are like, oh, let me go interview these directors. And some people are directors and making films, or making horror podcasts. Like black horror podcasts is out there, people. It's a lot of them. It ain't just
yes,
one or two, it's a whole lot of them. So
and yes, and I agree with that. And the thing that I love about it the most is because when I'm telling somebody else who is not familiar with any of it, they're like, wait a minute, what? There's more podcasts out here. There's more. It's a whole community. Oh, wait, wait. And then it's just like you're explaining and showing and introducing, and that the people to kind of open up their self. Maybe
yes.
they weren't open enough to say, oh, I'm into this, or I actually like this, and now I want to, build a community within something that I like, or I want to find community in something that I like. Some people won't go out and do that because they're timid about, people. Like I said, sometimes you have people like, you're really into horror, like, explain,
Yeah.
help me understand. And once you explain, they're like, okay, all right, okay, what's your favorite scary movie? And then from now on, I have people who DM me a lot, like on my personal page. They DM me a lot, and they're like, have you seen this scary movie? What's the most recent scary movie you watch? And now we're building a conversation. Someone I never
Yes.
thought was interested in this. And so it's just like, I feel like with all the content creators, it's allowing people to, you know, be themselves, open themselves up to more that's out there. And maybe you might not be a horror fan today, but you might be one tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Just come out and reveal yourself. We out
right.
here. We out here.
Mhm.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Even like, it's funny you say people feeling like, just comfortable, just letting it be known that, like, this is me. This is what I love. This is my passion, because I've had like Instagram for a while, since like Instagram started, but it's just like the past, I would say, like, year or so, when I really just started being like, this is what I love. I'm just gonna make it, I'm just gonna make it horror theme because this is what I have fun with. Like, I was
Right.
following Xena for years, before, I was like, you know what, let me make a horror page. Then I asked her for an interview and she's like, oh sure, and then it
Yeah,
just was a bug after that. Just just getting that high of talking to someone about horror. Like it's
that's cool.
yeah,
That's really cool. That's what's up. She's
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, oh,
I love her channel. She's hilarious.
oh, that's why I tell her. I tell her that because it's funny. Like you talk to her, she's so nice, so humble, But her character, like what she puts on, when she's on her YouTube videos, it's hilarious. It's
Yeah, it's
hilarious.
comedy,
Uh-huh.
definitely.
Now, my next question for you would be, what was a movie you wish you could see again for the first time?
That's a good one. A movie I wish I could see again. Oh, let's take it all the way back to what movie scared me the most? Tales from the Hood.
Ooh,
I wish I could see that again for the first time because it was anticipation to how scary it was. But I want to say that's one of the movies that probably scared me the most in my lifetime. Like
yes,
I was young when I seen it too. So seeing a lot of things young, you're more scared when you're younger. Well, at least for me, I am. So that movie was just like it was like the more you got into the next tale, it was getting scarier and scarier and scarier. The first one alone was scary. I'm like,
yes.
this man has came from the dead. He done threw needles at this man. Like, what is going on? So yeah, Tales from the Hood. I would definitely see that again for the first time.
That's a great one. And I feel like that's one where you can see it as a kid and be scared of certain things, and then you see it as an adult and pick up on themes that you wouldn't necessarily have picked up on as a kid, and it can scare you
Exactly.
for a whole other different reason.
For a whole another reason. Like, whoa. Like it really and that was one that was talked about a lot in horror noir. So
Yeah,
it was like that one was just like you kind of see the like the politics and things like kind of what goes on now. You see that in that movie. So and I
yes,
don't know when he was like when that funeral home alone, the mortuary, that just them being in there and then they turn around like we're dead, like and then he turns into the devil. I'm just like, and then you get that in all of the other ones. It's like, okay, because because like
sickening.
the person telling the story, it's like he turns into the devil. It's like, damn, that's what we're doing. I've been chopping it up with you for about a couple hours, and now you're the devil. Like, wait. So yeah, that's a good movie. That's a classic.
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Now my next question I like to ask a lot of people, because I get different answers, every time. But does horror do anything for your mental health? You know.
Yes, it really does. It's comforting. Um, and it a lot of the comfort I get is from the zombie and vampire like genre.
Yes.
Like it's comforting for me because if I'm watching like a zombie film, I have a lot of I'm not sure if anybody has ever experienced this, but they have like zombie apocalyptic nightmares. I've been having those since I was younger, and
Wow.
so they've never been scary nightmares to me. They're always been like just like I could survive this. I could do this, even though I probably wouldn't even try to survive in a zombie apocalypse. But I don't know. Zombies just always bring me a calm feeling. It's always the suspense and stuff. It takes away from like the anxiety of everything else. I put it all into this watch with this show or this movie, and it just like I like the suspense of like zombies. Like, oh, now Carl's over here fighting a group of zombies on The Walking Dead. Like it's just a lot of engagement with it versus, you know, still dealing with that what else I'm dealing with outside of it. So
Oh
it
yeah.
definitely brings comfort to me.
That was an awesome answer, because we've all had we have our dreams. Like I have my dreams about tornadoes, like reoccurring Uh, yeah, it'd be
Don't
some.
come to the south. Oh man.
Oh man, I've heard stories. I've asked people who've experienced. I've been like, how is it experiencing a tornado? Because that's like one of my worst fears. And they're like, oh, it's something normal. Like they're just like, yeah, it happens. It happens.
And you do get like that. Like coming from Seattle, I'm used to like earthquakes and stuff. So you get down here, you're like the first tornado warning, you're like, oh, I'm scared. Then the second one, you're like, okay, what's gonna happen? And then by the third one, you're no longer hiding in the bathtub, in the bathroom, or in a closet or something. You're no longer doing that while the alarms are going off. You're just like chilling, still watching TV, maybe playing the game or something. But it's like after a while, you get used to it.
See that, and that's the funny thing, because even like me growing up in California, like I was used to earthquakes, just the earth shaking and stuff like that, and just being like, all right, we had a little 2 point whatever on the Richter
Yeah.
scale from however many miles away. But I remember I came out here because I'm in Philadelphia right now, and
Hey,
we had
Philly.
a we had an earthquake uh some years ago out here, and they weren't used to experiencing it. So I'm just chilling, and I'm like, it's feel like an earthquake, but I'm like, nah, it ain't no earthquake. And I,
Right.
I turn on the news, people were freaking out. They were like,
Yeah.
oh, earthquake. I'm like, look, chill, chill. This was nothing. This was
This
light.
this just an earthquake. Just like you come here and somebody be like, it's a tornado alarm, you probably be like, it's just a tornado. You be like, nah, it's not just a tornado.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't get that over here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So you from Philly? I've recently gone to Philly like 2 years ago when the
Okay.
pandemic was still kind of going on, so I didn't get to experience much. But that's what's up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We got
You,
we got some nice history. Got some good cheesesteaks. Got some good history out here.
I went to a donut shop out there that was pretty good. They sell donuts and chicken. It was pretty good.
Federal Donuts.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I shamefully, yeah. Before the pandemic popped off, I would go there after my gym sessions. I'd go get me some
Ooh.
donuts.
Hey, that's balance though. That's balance.
Exactly, exactly. Little balance, little balance. But yes, yes. Shout out to Philly. Shout out to Philly.
Yeah.
My next question would be: do you have any favorite horror television shows?
Favorite horror television shows. Let's see. Um, well, my most recent one is going to be Interview with a Vampire, but I
Yes.
also enjoy The Walking Dead. But Lovecraft Country, if it was still coming on, I definitely put
Yes.
that at my number one. That was
Lovecraft
a
Country.
that was just like it,
Magic.
it was effortless. It was like it was you can't even describe it how good it was. It was that was a really 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 good series,
Yes.
and it deserved more. It
Way
definitely
more.
deserved more.
Way more. Way more. Like we recently had a discussion about that. I had Jaleesa and Mika actually were in on the discussion, and we just were talking about like our love for it, and just certain themes and some stuff that we really weren't used to seeing, on the screen, that Misha Green was able to, just bring to life. And it
Yes.
was just it's sad. It's sad that certain things got cut short. It's I don't know. It's just sad when a great black show is out there and then it go off the air. You just like, damn. Like with the Watchmen as well. That
Yeah.
was a really good one as well.
Yeah, Watchmen. I didn't finish it, but it's definitely on my list to finish because I hear so many great things. I started watching like the first 3 episodes,
Oh, it
but
gets it gets really good. It gets really good.
yeah,
I highly recommend that one. And also, if I don't know if you watch Atlanta. um
yes. Oh man, I'm so sad it's gone, but I might do a rewatch
Oh, I
one
got
day
to. I got to.
because it just talked about so much important things. It the MF Doom episode was really like one of my faves. Because I got new Earl sweatshirt music as well as
Yes.
representation for MF Doom. You know, a lot of people did not know who he was and did not listen to Doom, so it kind of shed light on like his death and how important it was
Yeah.
to the hip hop community. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
It
was a
was
good episode.
it was beautifully written. Want to seen I want to see well, I want to rewatch it because I want to have a discussion about like the horror themes in that in that uh in that show. You know, I want to have a full discussion just about like what because it was a lot of watching that show. There was a lot of parts in there where I'm just like, oh, this is a horror show. Like this is a it feels like
Exactly.
a horror show. You
Especially
know.
with like season one. Was that season one when they went to what's his name's house? And we still don't know who played him.
Oh,
And what's his what was his name? And
oh,
he came to the award show and
Teddy
everything.
Perkins.
And yeah, Teddy Perkins. That episode was just like, huh? And then like I don't know if you finished the recent season, but
Oh yeah, I
the
did.
the guy who owned the studio and it ended up being Donald Glover playing him. But I'm just like tripping. He Mr. Chocolate.
Mr. Chocolate, yes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is a little creepy. This man is a little creepy, and I'm like, is this Donald Glover? So yeah, I do see like like the horror within the show a lot, like
Yes.
throughout all the seasons. They did a great job with that show.
Yes. So many different meanings. Like I love it. I love it. I could talk about Atlanta, you know, all day.
No, for
I
real.
actually finished it last night, you know, like I was hesitant because I'm like, damn, I don't want it to end. My fiance, she was like, just watch it. It's amazing. And I started with the Goofy episode, you know, and then
Oh yeah,
you know, it was
that final episode was just like, it was just like Chef's kiss,
yes.
like that's how you end it. You know, they do some. They always got to do something crazy, but was it all a dream?
Yes, yes. Mika says, "Have you seen the show From?"
From no, I haven't seen From.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
actually, I have seen From. That was with it's on Epics.
yes,
Yes, that show. They said it's kind of like Lost. I never watched Lost, but they said it's kind of similar to Lost. But
yeah.
it was just like that show. I can't wait for season two because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. That that was a good show. Have you seen it, Tyrone?
You know what? You know, every time Mika brings it up, I'm like, because I've already added it to my list. But you know what? I'm getting Epics tonight because I'm gonna watch it this week
When I tell
because
you,
I'm sick of you know people talking about it. I'm just like I don't know what's going on. You know.
I tried to like I tried to I had like a subscription for Epics, and
Yeah.
then it was like the last couple episodes, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch nothing else on Epics. I'm not keeping this subscription, and I was like, I'm just gonna pay for this subscription and finish these last two episodes because I the show was really good. Yeah. If she's told you about it a million times, it's time to watch it for
Yeah.
the millionth
I'm
time.
I'm I'm subscribing as soon as the live ends. I'm subscribing to Epics and I'm gonna get it
Okay.
done. I'm getting it done this week, Mika. I'm getting it done. I'm getting it done.
Let me know once you finish and tell me what you think because
Yes.
it's really worth watching.
Yes. Yes. Definitely gotta check that one out. Jaleesa says Mr. Chocolate being immune. Chris. uh,
Man, oh man, that just reminded me of the menu. So you guys are gonna have to watch to go see
oh
that.
no. No, yeah, we that's one that we gotta make it happen because we actually live down the street from a theater, so we definitely and there the menu is showing, so I definitely you know gotta make that happen. Yes, yes, I know, Mika. I'm after
Yeah,
I'm gonna subscribe to Epics tonight. Tonight I'm subscribing.
I I'm gonna be like that annoying person. Like, did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? You said this week. You said after the live. Did you watch it yet?
Definitely gotta check that out because I've heard nothing but great things about it. Nothing but great things.
Yes, it was good, and it's like so many twists and turns throughout the season alone. It's just like, okay, I like this.
Yes, yes. Now, do you have a favorite horror villain?
Favorite horror villain. Hmm. My favorite horror villain would have to be Abby, because
Yes,
Abby was really
yes,
the villain. Abby was the villain, but at the same time, she was doing the good deed. The
yes.
good deed. So yes, Abby.
That's probably my favorite answer to that question because nobody people have said everybody else, but Abby, like that's
Yeah,
a highlight. That's a highlight of the show. Thank
yeah.
you.
She. Thank you. I almost said, "Oh, girl from the faculty," because the way that I didn't know she was the villain the whole time,
Oh, me
but
neither. Oh my
I
god.
was not expecting that. I was
Which
like, "Wait, plot twist."
when they were huffing the when they were huffing the powder, the drugs or
Yeah,
whatever, and you just saw like it was revealed that her it just went down. I was just like, oh my
oh, she
god.
was real slick.
Yeah, the faculty is underrated. Like I feel like it needs more love. Like I know, Invasion of the Body Snatchers and the Thing classics, but I feel like the faculty did such a great job with it, especially
Yeah.
in an era of Scream, and stuff like that. Like I feel like it definitely was up there. It definitely was up
Yeah,
there.
the faculty was definitely classic. That and the craft. I really love the craft
Yes.
because
Yes.
Rachel True, she's amazing. I wish I could see her in a lot more horror. I actually watched her in one of the horror noir series, or the series that came out. I watched her in one of those episodes, so it was pretty cool seeing her on that. But I would love to see her in more stuff, more horror, because she's a pretty good actress. But The Craft was a good movie. At
Yes. The craft is a classic. It's a classic. Jaleesa, she was actually watching it the other day, and it's just one of the ones that you could just throw on anytime, anytime,
right, we
you
are the
know.
weirdos.
Yes. Yeah, so many quotables. Now, do you have a favorite final girl or final boy out there?
It's always between Sydney Prescott and Brandy, and I still know what you did last summer. Um,
Yes.
she was badass in that movie. Um, Brandy was definitely badass, and the fact that she was, that we're always getting killed in movies like that. So
Yeah.
for her to make it to the end, that just always makes me feel so great. But Sydney Prescott, of course, because I love the Scream franchise. But I'll definitely always choose Brandy as my favorite final girl.
Yes, yes, some Brandy love, some Brandy love. We were actually I was on a Sledgehammer Horrors podcast doing a countdown of the Halloween movies and I Brandy actually I did a couple podcasts last week, but it was one of the podcasts. My apologies, but it was one of the podcasts that I was doing last week. It was either no, I think it was Ashes to Ashes, because we were recording for her podcast,
Oh
and,
yeah,
and we
great
were talking.
podcast.
Yes, we were talking about Final Girls, and someone had brought up Brandy, and I still know what you did last summer, and they said that her mom is the reason why she actually survived. Like they wanted to kill her, but her mom was like, "No, my baby's not going to die in this movie." So,
Yeah,
you
no, we're not doing that. Y'all want her on this movie? She's not doing that. We don't
yeah,
do the dying. I know that's right. Her family's a
uh-huh.
real they're go getters. So and they're
Yes.
talented go getters. So I always love that family. So that's pretty dope. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was like, nah, because they was like LL got in this contract, he ain't gonna die, so she ain't gonna die. Why she gotta
Yeah,
die?
LL was another good one too. Him and that bird. That was
Yeah,
a good.
Deep Blue Seas, it's classic, classic.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really big on the creature features. Um, Never really been big on creature features. I used to watch Lake Placid. I used to like movies like Anaconda when I before I moved to Texas. But
Mm-hmm.
when I moved to Texas and being in the vicinity of snakes, I don't watch snake movies. I'm
Gotcha.
scared of snakes, so yeah, I'm not big creature feature, but those are like classics. Lake Placid was a classic too. But,
Yes, yes.
um,
Just
the
something
first
about a
one,
big alligator. Just,
yeah,
it just scares the crap out of me. I don't know if you've seen X and Pearl, but
yes,
the alligator in there. Just why are y'all playing around? Why are y'all?
right. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. Have you been to Florida before?
Yeah, you know what? I plan on going. Like my sister and my nephew just recently moved out there, so I plan on going
Okay.
out there, to visit them. And then I was chatting it up with She Haunts. She's a paranormal investigator who has her own
Okay.
paranormal investigation group out in Florida. So they
Oh
invited me. They
wow.
were like, "Yeah, if you want to come out and do some paranormal investigating." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So
Ooh.
that might be my first time in Florida.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. But
Yeah.
Florida always have a good time in Florida, so that's definitely gonna be fun.
Yes, yes. Florida. Now we're winding down. Got my last, couple questions for you, but thank you for
Okay,
rocking out with me so far. It's been
of
such an
course.
awesome, time getting to know you a little bit better, putting a face,
Yep.
to the content,
Yes,
and
definitely.
just seeing how much of an awesome person that you are. But
Thank you. You as well.
my thank you. My next question would be, we're stepping into the age of like the metaverse, where we're going to be putting on the VR goggles, and just it's going to get more and more intense and more just more, we're going to be more engrossed in virtual reality and more immersed in this, and there's going to be space for horror in that. I know we were talking a little bit about that with like Resident Evil and stuff like that, but if I were to put on the horror goggles or the VR goggles, and I'm looking into Teez's world and horror in the city, like what am I gonna see? Like paint the picture for me. What am I gonna see?
Well, you're gonna see a lot of. You might see me in like a big house. I might have like a moat, so you probably have to cross over a bridge or something to get to my house because it's gonna be really dark. Inside, it's probably gonna be like minimalist things, but at the same time, it's gonna be dark. So I like to keep it a little dark and spooky. I might actually even have a graveyard around my house too. You might
Ooh,
see that. Nice
ooh.
little graveyard. And I will have zombies on my side, so it'll be kind of my protection. Outside of
Yes.
my moat and stuff. I keep them away. That was a good question. I like that question because now I'm thinking like, eh, what is my metaverse gonna look like? What's my universe gonna look like? And I can see that though. Like I will rise my dead from the graveyards. Like, hey, them over there.
Mm. Yo, that would be nice. That'd be nice though, because and for someone who loves their privacy and just wants to be like secluded from just the hoopla. Like for one, you got the moat, and then
Yeah,
someone crosses the moat, then you got the cemetery with the
yeah.
zombies in there, and you just
Might get the
it's a lot.
alligator
You
from
really
Pearl.
want to come over in order to yeah, yeah, the alligator from Pearl, just it's yeah, it would definitely. I love that answer. I love that answer.
Thank you.
Because I'm envisioning it. I'm envisioning, especially a nice big house.
Mm.
surrounded by the water. That'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta stay protected.
Now, my last question of the night would be if you could spend the day in the life of your favorite horror character, whether it be like a person, a creature, a spirit, like who or what would it be? You could spend 24 hours as this person.
24 hours as this person. Um, it would be. Oh, this is a good question. I would have to say, um, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Ooh.
I would when she plays Laurie Strode. I would really want to see like how much was she willing to run for Michael? Like was she like what like the extremes that she went through running from
Yeah.
him? Like I would want to experience that. Like
We'll see
because
what.
he's not fast.
No, he's not. He's
He's
not.
not fast, but he stuck around in her life for a long time. So I would want to get a little bit of, feel the history of that being chased by Michael Myers. That would be
That's
that
some
would be something to
anxiety.
experience. Experience, right?
That's-
After my 24 hours is up, I'll be like, I'll never do that again.
now what multiverse Jamie? Because we got about four universes, four Halloween timelines out there. So what timeline would you would you want to be in?
Well, she was really badass in the what was it? Um what was that one called? It wasn't Halloween Ends. It was the Halloween like
The
into
the
this newer multiverse.
2018.
Yeah, that one. I would want to be in that one because that house she created. You did
Yeah.
all of this and you still didn't kill him. All she had to do was sneak him in her house and with the recent one, like
Uh-huh.
she did all of that. And all she needed to do was just that. So it was like I'm interested to see like how she even built all that contraption, like
Got
from
you.
the basement to the. She really had that house like decked out, and then you go and live in the middle of nowhere. Like I'm curious, what was in her head? What was in her mind? After you run from somebody for so long and you've tried everything and you think you've done everything, you just really want to know like especially with this last one, like how he did die. It's just like all of that, and this death was just it was at ease. It wasn't too strategic, none of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
definitely be 2018 Jamie.
That's an awesome answer because that Jamie was badass, because it's
Yeah,
some like my favorite Jamie was Halloween H2O Jamie, her with her glass of wine. I need one night, John. I need just one night.
one
Yeah.
night. H2O is a good one. I like H2O.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh
that
yeah.
that might be a good answer too. The H2O Jamie. That's when she was the teacher, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah, she was just a totally different person in that one.
Oh
And
yeah.
then, so yeah, it would be that. It would be definitely 2018 because
I feel like she
she's
could break your nose. 2018
yeah,
Jamie could break your nose.
and she got a couple pistols you don't even know about. They somewhere, but you don't.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But thank you again for joining me,
No, thank you.
for chopping it up. I hope to have you, in on some future discussions,
Definitely.
in the genre, and just chopping it up. Everybody check Teez out, on social media, Instagram, Twitter, check out the blog. Anything else that you want to tell the people that you got going on?
Well, you can actually add me on my personal page or my horror in the city page. I prefer horror in the city, which is horror dot in the city on Instagram, and on Twitter it's horror in the city, just all spelled out. And then my personal page is Teez in the city, so Teez in the city.
No, I'm not Carrie Bradshaw, but I'm in the city.
Oh
It's
yeah,
been good, Tyrone. Thank you.
thank you. It's been so much fun, and thank you guys, everybody in the chat. You know, Jaleesa, Mika, Candace, you know, everybody who was checking it out tonight, all the family love, you know, Iman and the cousins and the best friends, you know, everybody who was checking it out, showing support, showing the love. You know, we'll be
Appreciate it.
back next week with
Yeah.
with some new I think I got two interviews next week. So that should be fun. I think I got Kai FX coming up
Yeah.
next week. So that
Hi.
should be yeah, that should be fun, you know. So yeah, thank you to everybody. Keep it spooky, you know, peace, love, and horror.
All right.
There we go. There we go.